Good evening, everybody, and welcome to A Stark Realization. I'm your host, Bradley W. Skinner, and today's topic that we wanted to be discussing, this was brought to me by not only some of our listeners, but also some students, and they wanted to know what our thoughts were specifically on teachers, administrators, any faculty members participating in school spirit dress-up days. I thought that was kind of a unique concept because I guess there's a lot of schools out there that having adults in the building, they don't participate. It's not something they do. It's not part of their culture and climate. And it's a student only. And it's not only in some schools where it doesn't happen, it's actively discouraged for adults in the building to participate in those type of events. I'm not of that school of thought. I love to participate in dress up days. So when discussing this topic, I wanted to bring a guest in today. So I looked at who are some other educators out there that have that same belief system, that same participation, that just they get after it when it comes to dress up days and they don't mess around. And that led me to our guest today, Chase Chatfield. This guy gets it and he knows what it's like. Chase, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us where you're coming from and why this is an important topic to you.
Hi, my name is Chase Chatfield. I'm a middle school teacher at Van Cleve Middle School in Mississippi. And dress up days are important because, well, let's face it, as a teacher, khakis and polos just suck all the time. So you get to show a little bit of your personality and your likes and your interests, and you get to be involved with your students without coming across a little odd where you start telling about yourself. You're actually be able to show who you are through some of the outfits that you do. And not only that, but if you're willing to have fun with yourself and poke fun at yourself and be involved with the school, and the kids will follow. They will see that you are enjoying yourself and you can still be who you are no matter what kind of ridiculousness that you look like. I mean, I've had some parent conferences that I've forgotten about on dress up days, and it's always fun to be thing one wearing a blue wig trying to talk to parents about math scores or language art scores depending on what I was teaching at the time. But if you dress up and you get involved, it makes the day so much more fun. And not only that, but the attention that you get from students that normally just ignore you. They point out, oh, that's pretty awesome. Hey, where'd you get that? Let's get a picture together. Things along that line. And then next thing you know, I mean, I've one of the pictures I'll have today was I went and picked up donuts the morning before, and I got called down outside of the donut shop to take a picture, and from our community members, and I didn't know who they were, but I just smiled and told them I wasn't sharing my donuts.
So how long have you been teaching?
I've been teaching now for about 7 years, from first grade to primarily middle school.
Okay. So now tell me this, has your participation in dress up days, has that been something that you've done since day one? Has that always been part of your mode of operation, or did that start after you'd been teaching for a while?
Um, when I was younger, when I was in school, I was not involved to dress up at all. It wasn't a thing for me. Uh, when I got into teaching, I had to, my personality started to come out. I was in my 30s now, and so I didn't want to be boring. So I started off with um, shoes, and that was inspired by Pete the Cat. And so I was like, well, what can I do? So I went out and I brought some like bright tangerine shoes and some red shoes and some green shoes. They were uncomfortable, but nonetheless, my first graders loved them because they had no idea what color shoes I was going to wear on Wednesday. And so that gave them something to look forward to. Once I got to middle school, I realized how kind of square and uptight everybody was, and everybody wants to look their best. And, some kids went all out and other kids didn't. And it wasn't until I want to say my third year that one of the teachers here was like, I'm surprised you never dress up. And I was like, what do you mean? It's like, well, with your personality and stuff, I would thought that you'd be the person that would come in the wheelchair on the 100th day of school, that you'd have an outfit for every day of Christmas, 14 days of Christmas, and for School Spirit Week. And I was like, man, I'm not being true to myself. I'm not letting my quirkiness and my weirdness and my humor come out. I'm trying to stay overly professional
Mhm.
and try to create a standard in the classroom that's not realistic because, well, if I'm not having fun, they're not having fun. And if I'm missing out on the fun, then they definitely are as well. So I started to change that attitude. And while I don't participate in every single one because you only have so much closet space sometimes. Your budget's only as good as it is, but I at least look for simple ways to incorporate myself, even if it's kind of a lie. It's not real. I've got one of those pictures here for my fake camo. you know um, and sometimes it's something as simple as just you and another teacher on the hallway, making sure you wear the same shirt on a certain day, whether it's subject level or grade level, still, little things like that. And so as the past couple of years have progressed, my wardrobe has become a little bit, you know, more expansive. And, the students have started asking, hey, what are you wearing for such and such, and I'm like, well, you got to be at school for a surprise, type of thing. I'm going to wear it. I promise I'm going to wear something. And sometimes it may be something as simple as two different color pants and, they get to vote through the week, and the most votes, that's the color I wear on our teacher free dress day, for an attendance all week. So, sometimes it's not necessarily a spirit week. It could just be, a cool little random, hey, why are you wearing that? It's Thursday. Why not?
Yeah, that's fantastic. I was kind of that same way. My first year of teaching, I was shirt and tie every single day, every week, the entire school year, because I felt I had to keep that professional outlook. I was focused more on the adults in the building and the community members than I was about the kids. And I realized, man, I missed out on a lot of opportunities. And so once I got my mindset that, you know what, people, I don't need to impress everyone outside of my building about being professional. I can show my students that I'm professional in the way that I teach and delivering quality lessons regardless of what I'm dressed as. And so the more we got kids participating, more students started dressing up, the more they saw their teachers participating. And it just became part of that culture and climate of the building where it was fun, it was acceptable, and it was still professional. And then of course, if we did have meetings or, parent teacher conference, then I learned keep an extra change of clothes in the closet if I need to.
Right, right.
So let's go ahead and jump into some of your favorite dress up days. Let's take a look at some of your selections. Then we'll actually talk a little bit at the end of how that's changed that culture and climate of your school as well as impacting your students. So let's go ahead and share your screen there with us, and let's see what some of your favorites have been.
All right. So this first one here is kind of what I started with, where it's just myself and another math teacher on the hallway. We got a blue jean day, and I was like, hey, let's have matching shirts. And we figured out what shirt would be funny to wear. And uh, the backstory behind that is we were actually doing the Pythagorean theorem
Oh,
test that Friday. And so we had it up there on our shirts. Some of the kids thought it was funny, and some of them used that as the answer. So I mean, something like that's kind of where it started. You kind of find your comfort level, and then you start. You work into, well, hey, what can what can I get away with? You know, and so um, my my next time that I did, and I went all out, we had a reward trip, and based on state scores, scoring high enough, they got rewarded with going to a water park on like the second or third day of school. And so this was the year that I had traffic duty in the morning. Nobody knew, my principal included, knew that I was going to show up like this. And so I came as obnoxious as possible. Uh, the wetsuit was mine, but it was also a couple of years old, so I didn't realize I had to get a floaty to be protected, But I'm out there waving and just hollering "Water Park Day" and all that kind of stuff, and
Oh, the
Um,
socks and sandals are killing me.
and so it was just, hey, what can I do that will be different on this Tuesday? And so I came like this to school and changed into it and directed traffic all morning. Now, mind you, this is also Mississippi, and it was probably 87, 93 degrees. So thankfully, I cooled off when I got to the water park in just a regular swim trunks and shirt and stuff. But that was kind of my this started, if anything, this started the standard. This started it all. Um, my next one, um, you've got your standard outfits for regular pep rallies. The best thing about that is even if you don't know how to dance, nobody knows. You can wiggle to your heart's content, and all they see are feet and arms and a head. So a lot of it just has to do with bouncing and all that kind of stuff. And this just kind of encourages students to, get involved in the pep rallies a little bit more, especially if they know there's a theme coming up. Bring something for the pep rally, dress out, have a good time, maybe make the yearbook, school's Instagram or Twitter if they do that. And I went to the um, local thrift store and I bought every different pattern that I could find.
What?
and and so I've got the leggings that were way too small, but they were there. The gross shorts and the dots and the stripes and a hat, and I walked around like that. And the crazy thing is that the kids understood what was being taught just as much as if I was in my school shirt and a pair of khakis and
Mhm.
a pencil behind my ear, and they just walk in. I mean, and so this one here is actually one of the outfits I just keep in the bag and hold on to it for tacky day every year. And then as I outgrow some stuff or it's uncomfortable, I just get something different.
Oh, man.
Um, let's see here. um, Grade levels get in. So we had a rock theme one
Oh,
year, and
wow.
so we all came on our. I don't remember if this is the first day of school or maybe a back to school night because some stuff you just can't get away with. But on a back to school night, we all dressed up, as rockers or some of our favorite bands, our favorite looks. And, this was meet the teacher night. This is who you get to hang out with for a full year, and you guys, and hopefully you guys know that you'll love it. We look forward to sharing our personalities, with you guys.
That's
Um,
fantastic.
let's see here. We live in a rural community. I don't have any camo because I don't do camo stuff, but I do have Hawaiian shirts. So, I went as a camouflage tourist and kind of wore that. Of course, the kids shook their heads at me and stuff, but just coming in with something a little bit different than the norm is really important. But getting kids involved, we actually did a show here. So this one here, we actually did kind of a dinner theater at our school as a fundraiser, and uh, the first year, a group of pictures with them. So these are some students. Um, Now, full disclosure, these are also my sons, but they were students at another school. But we I went full nerd with the tight pants and the squeaky voices, and sang and danced and made a mess and dropped stuff. And they came in and watched it, and they enjoyed themselves. Well, a couple of the very next year, our we did the second part to that show, and now they're part of it. They
Oh,
they
wow.
joined in, and these. Well, I mean, my sons could say no all they want to, but the thing is, going back to climate and culture, if you show that you can have fun, and enjoy yourself, and it works, people are going to get involved. They're going to want to join, and uh, they're not going to want to miss out. They they want to say, well, how can I be part of that? And the key is that not everybody has to go full in. You do it to your own comfort level.
Mhm.
If you can go full nerd like I did there with high waters and socks that were rolled down and all that kind of stuff, or you can come in like, you know, like he does and still looking sharp, but kind of, playing the role in his way. Um, the I think the last one I have here uh, is my game show. So during our 12 days of Christmas, or 14 days of Christmas before school gets out, we have
Nice.
different dress up days. And one of the things, I'm also the soccer coach. So one of the things that I do is our boys wear shirt and tie for home games. They come to school, we all dress that way. It's our yearbook picture. Um, in fact, this year, one kid popped his tie, his ball, and so I cut it up and made it into a tie. So that's what he wears every single day. So I just cut
That's
all
cool.
the hexagon shapes out, hot glued it, and glued it on the back and stapled it together. But on our one of our games, I came to school dressed like this, and shirt and tie and some white pants. And instead of having regular class, I changed it up, and we just did we used some ed tech out there and just did different game show style things. So every time they came in, it was come on down and, you know, just kind of getting them pepped up to, they have no clue because what was going on because it wasn't in the lesson plans. But, we just changed it up and, you know, this outfit right here probably got me more attention from students than anything else. Is simple and basic, but still kind of out there because it was with the theme. They see somebody else kind of not uncomfortable. They see someone else doing it, and they see one of the leaders of the school, even though it's a teacher, just kind of enjoying themselves and enjoying what they're doing and enjoying it with them. And if anything, it just creates a connection that can't be forced.
Yep.
It becomes a lot more natural because students you just can't force them to do stuff. They have to choose to do it themselves. And leading by example is truthfully the best way, in my opinion, the only way to do it. And not only that, but they get to see a part of you that's not normal. And like when they let me, yeah, just to hang out with them and say, hey, what's going on? How you doing? And they see that you're wearing, your favorite rock band shirt, or your favorite team, or a video game shirt, or any item that you own that shows some of your personality, and it allows them to bond with you because they're like, wow, you know them too. What's your favorite song, or what's your favorite part? And it's like, wow, you wear a lot of purple, don't you? And I'm like, well, that's my favorite color. Well, it is mine too. So it starts turning into those connections that
Yep.
can't be forced, and you're just doing it because you're showing who you are, um, through what you're wearing and how you're participating, and just makes for the day to go by so much better.
Absolutely. It completely changes the whole, those connections, those relationships are important. And again, as you said, with some of those odd dress up things that you do, it allows you to connect and do things that you may have missed with some of those kids. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up some of my pictures here. Um, See if you can, let me get that closed out of the way here. Um, so
Now, I
here's,
will say this, it's not fair that you have a complete closet at your school that you can raid at any point in time. I don't have one of those.
I do
So,
have a bit of an advantage. Uh, this
but
one was fun because we had the entire administrative team all dressed up as members from Toy Story, and that was a riot.
right.
There was that one. This was our Tarzan Day. Um, we did that.
And I think the big thing is that I feel like they need permission to do it.
Uh huh. Yep.
And if and permission is given through, hey, these are the dress up days, but sometimes people are like, well, I don't know what to wear and I don't know what to do that. But it just takes one person to say, hey, let's all get together, let's do this theme and surprise everybody, and go that route. And it doesn't take much to put together an outfit. Heck, we probably have things in your closet that you can toss together that are just natural.
Yep. Well, obviously, you got to have my Tony
Yes.
Stark look. So we did that one. Little Negan from Walking Dead. That was fun. This was our country day, so I decided to go as a country artist. Thought that'd be a little different. A little Zach.
Play on words, I like it.
Wario. Yes, that was a. This one actually was fun because students came to me and asked me to do this one because they were all dressing up as different Mario Kart characters.
Nice.
And so to have students come, normally it's, we're oftentimes I dress up and then recommend other things for kids to do. But to have a group of students come to me and say, we want you to be a part with our group, that was a game changer. That was a huge day. Another comic book one. Decided I'd go a different route. Little Wolverine look there. I don't even remember what this dress up day. I'm trying to remember what it was for. Some sort of. I really don't remember. I just remember that I went all out and went full Braveheart for the day, but I can't remember what the concept was. It was, I think it may have been like Hero Day or something. So we went like a totally different aspect.
Right.
This one was probably my favorite. This is my last one here we'll show. So we actually it was a student swap day. Um, so he dressed as me and I dressed as him. And it was hilarious. I had students come in the classroom and walk past me and go up to this student to ask him a question before they realized that it wasn't me.
And that's the bonus right there. That's the
And that was crazy. I couldn't believe that really worked. It was a hoot. um, so tell us a little bit about then as we finish things up here. What have you seen as far as, I know you had a principal that would dress up and do some crazy stuff with you, but what have you really seen? What has been those big changes in simply participating in a dress up day? How has that changed your teaching, changed your relationship with students? Just what's been the biggest factors?
so for me personally in the teaching aspect, the biggest factor is I'm putting more of myself in the lessons and in the instruction and the interaction in class versus just going off of, all right, what's the topic? What's the standard? How can I show it? How can I put the IKN statement on the board, and come in here and just like hit them with information and let them get some practice in and then be done with it. So I've been able to put my own flavor, on it. And it reminded me of an interview that I saw on the Monty Pythons way back, 15, 20 years ago. And they talked about, well, how do you guys know what's funny? And they're like, well, we just do what's funny to us. And if somebody likes it, great. And if they don't, that's okay too. And so I just start remembering that I want to have fun while I'm here at school. It's not just a job; it's a lifestyle. It's a career. My goal is to impact as many people as I can, how they need to be impacted, and I can't do that not being me. And so it's for me personally, it's really helped me put more of myself into the lesson plan and into how I present the instructions. And then when it comes to the students, I've had more students come up to me that I haven't had yet, and I don't know who they are, and they're like, "Hey, are you the guy with the blah blah blah?" Or, whatever the situation is, or "Hey, can I show you this?" And they'll pull up a picture on their phone or something and show like something that they did and get my opinion on it. I'm an activity teacher this year, so now every 9 weeks I get 100 different students. So we're in our third 9 weeks now. So I've now met 300 of the 500 some odd students, and like they know who I am and what I'm about already. So on day one in class, the normal tension that you would have from meeting your teacher for the first time hasn't been there as much these last 2 9 weeks, because they already know that I'm here to enjoy myself. I'm here to have fun. We're going to work hard and do some cool things. We may fail at them, but that's okay. We laugh at ourselves, we pick ourselves up, we go again. Um, and then just also knowing that they want to come to class versus,
Mhm.
this is an activity class that I can miss to go work something else somewhere else. But they're like, man, I got to get my work done or I'm gonna miss this class and be able to hang out and do some cool stuff. I've also seen, I mean, no student has actually, said to me that, hey, I'm dressed up because of you did, and I don't expect that to. But I have seen some of our more like quirky and self-conscious students, other people, in school doing stuff. They've kind of put themselves aside, and that goes back to giving yourself. I mean, you can come in looking all tacky but cute. Why not? Um, and just being able to respect each other a little bit more with being able to see how they're dressing up and how the students are interacting with each other, and just kind of enjoying and an event that's coming up and just hearing the planning type of stuff, and then just getting others involved. Oh, we need this person, we need something for this, and like to the point where they don't care if it's part of their group, as long as the big picture, like you guys did with all the faculty dressing up with a certain theme, as long as that big picture is there. It's like, we just need a guy in a green shirt with an M. You want to do it? Cool. I'll make the shirt. We'll find you here, blah, blah, blah. We'll do a big picture, yearbook, boom. And now this kid's made a connection with 6 or 7 other M&Ms that they didn't know before that time, and then they go run around the school wanting to show everybody and all that kind of stuff. So I've really seen our students enjoy themselves more at school during these days, and you really see them relax in class too. Because it's some of our outfits that we wear. It's kind of hard to have a glum face when you're staring at tacky guy, or show for you want to show them all off. So just having them be themselves on more days, and even on the days that aren't called for to be kind of different, but being able to show themselves a little bit more, throughout the year, I feel that it gives them a more relaxed demeanor, to where they are more receptive to learning and to taking risks, not only with themselves, but also with their education, and trying to discover things for themselves versus waiting for somebody to hand stuff to them.
Great point. Awesome. Chase, thank you so much for being an inspiration. Thank you for making those connections and building those relationships with your students. And for our listeners and our viewers, if there are those that if they want to follow you and see the work that you're doing, where can they see you on social media? How can they follow you?
Well, I'm on Twitter and on Instagram, at Mathter Blaster. That's MATHTERBLASTER, Mathter Blaster. And most of the stuff you're going to find on there, the hijinks and stuff that we do that I do in the classroom and at school, and just celebrating the awesomeness that my kids are, because they need a platform of positivity, and I'm going to give it to them.
Absolutely. Awesome. Appreciate all you do. Thanks for joining us on A Stark Realization, and we'll see you next time.